I'm Dr. Ryan DeBell from The Move It Fix. This is Move It Fix Monday. I'm here at Kabuki Strength Lab.
That's correct.
With Chris Duffin right here.
Great. The lab.
And we're going to look in this video at the Shoulder Rök. And this is something we talked about on my podcast.
Yep.
And I'm excited because I've never used it actually, so I wanted to go through it.
All right.
Coached, and maybe you can talk a little bit about like where you found the benefits for you and your athletes as well, and who should be using it and including it in their training, and see where it goes.
It's really a fantastic tool. We use it a lot with our strength athletes just because so many of them have, bound up, basically restricted shoulders, limiting basically a lot of flexion, extension, internal, external rotation, just a lot of issues around that, just the amount of muscle mass. But it's pretty common in general population as well, just because of the stress levels, the breathing pattern breakdowns, all the stuff that happens in our typical environment these days. You got a lot of that locked up, frozen back type issues going on, right? So this is kind of, since we've released it, it's used, we've got like half a dozen MLB teams using it. It's used in the NBA, the NFL, some of the leading rehab clinics in the US. It's kind of across the board. Throwing Olympians, discus, shot putters. You can think about all those rotational sports.
Oh, but absolutely. It's way longer than I thought it would be.
It is, and that's what makes it valuable, because a lot of people go, oh, I can just grab a sledgehammer and do it. Well, this is different. This is different than like Indian clubs. They have great value.
Sure.
But as you get as a more advanced athlete or more muscle mass on you, that smaller club or that smaller lever arm doesn't do what it needs to do. Because a big value in this is that learning to balance or flow between relaxation and contraction.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And that's one of the things you really hit on, was the ability to relax and then engage in a position rather than like being tight the whole time. And there's some value.
So if you can control it all the time, like a kettlebell halo, it's great movement, but you're always in control. So what we want to do is we want to turn on all the muscles that stabilize that shoulder girdle, and then we want to turn it off and then turn it on. And so that longer lever arm does it. And what's really important is we want the weight to swing basically in this area behind the knee. So the mace this is hundreds of years old. It's been around for a long time. And so there's a lot of shorter versions on the market, and they're designed at this length that'll hit you in the, like here where this mass is, right? So the swing doesn't work properly because you want it as close to the body as possible.
Got it.
Because the further away you swing it, the more chance it's actually going to come back in and hit you.
Probably not a good thing.
Actually, the closer we do. But the first thing is actually learning to actually let the weight do the work. So we just start by doing this.
I'll stand back a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just, look at this, no work. I can let this thing swing in front of me, right? So some people have a hard time doing this. You can do it with two hands, but just a little pumping motion, and now all of a sudden, whoa, it's way up here, just like a pendulum on a grandfather clock. Very little work. So let's just have you start. We're just learning to just let it go with no work.
Does it matter which hand is on the top?
Or you can use both hands to start with. It doesn't matter.
You make that look very easy.
Yeah. Some people kind of challenge. They want to push it side to side or twist it with the wrists.
Yeah.
The wrists are going to flow with it, but you don't want to be turning it with the wrist. Now try to keep the center right in the center of the body without letting it swing, and just a little bit of pumping action.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now once you've learned, and like I said, some people will kind of struggle with this.
This is actually harder. Just doing this is actually.
Yeah, you can actually take
where
this
do I get it?
and you could start moving side to side and forward and back and kind of time this with different things. So this is actually a valuable drill just in and of itself.
Yeah. This is harder than I would have thought, just watching you do just this.
So I've added this because traditionally our first step had been in the past was to put this over your back and then learn the pendulum from the back position. So go ahead and stand forward up here.
Okay, yeah.
So, and now I'm going to learn to do the same thing. Until I get it up in this like 10 and 2 position. So we want to just learn to get the pendulum behind the back. This is also an assessment, because we don't want to actually just go wildly and have somebody grab this with no looking at their movement and go, oh yeah, just do this.
Yeah, just whip this huge thing around your body without.
Exactly. And then also to get comfortable with the fact that you need weight and weight's okay.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to put no weight on it and go into swinging it. Like, oh, I need to learn with no weight. But especially your bigger lifters, you have to have the weight To allow, like if I gave you a string and had you swing it side to side, you wouldn't be able to do what I just had you do with the pendulum with the weight on the end.
It's like trying to lift a dowel versus a bar, and you have something like actually pull against, you know.
Exactly. So,
okay.
But this, like you wouldn't be able to get this to do the work on itself if there was no weight on the end, right? Okay. So go ahead and.
So I go here.
Yep.
And here.
Good. And now just get the pumping action up and down. Try to keep that center right behind the head. You can move up and down, and then get it higher and higher.
It's like you don't know where it is. You can't see it.
Good. Good. And now we'll stop for a second.
Okay.
Right. Now, proprioception with this is really interesting because
you have no idea where it is too.
And then you'll find you'll like mess around with it for like 5-10 minutes. You can take a 10-minute break, come back, and all of a sudden you'll have made a huge improvement in skill. So that's I always recommend, like if you reach a stalling point and you're not progressing, just stop and walk away. Like it can just be a few minutes.
That neural
and you'll
fatigue
come back and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've got this. So now once you can get that up to here or here, if you've ever done like a kettlebell snatch, you know how you come up here, you don't actually throw it up over the top of your wrist. You kind of sneak it and twist it, and the bell just kind of swings through. We're gonna do the same thing. Once that weight is like over here, you're gonna imagine just like drawing and pulling it here.
How high was it getting when I was doing it?
You weren't quite there yet, but very close. So once we get it in here, you're basically gonna tuck those elbows to the front, and the weight, imagine drawing it this way. So you're not actually like thinking about pulling it over like I've got this.
You're here, you
this big shape. We want it, it's tight right here, and we just go boop, right to here.
Got it, okay.
So next, step 1 or step 2 is the rear swing. And then once it's here, boom. And then it's right in front. Elbows to your side.
Right there.
Wrists to the side, 90, 90, 90.
Okay.
And then once you've mastered that, the last piece is now we want to just let it drop tight into that same swing that you've learned.
Okay.
So it's going to be right here, and we're just going to let the weight fall and let the elbows open with it. So we just go.
So you hit there.
Boop. And you can do it with one hand.
At some point, you can do it with one hand.
You can get fancy and do tricks. Maybe throw a little squat in with it. All easy. All right. So start with the rear swing again.
All right. So if I'm going, does it matter? It just doesn't matter which hand's on top, huh?
We'll go into that in a second. Right now, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Just think about which side is going to be more comfortable to pull it over on.
I'm like nervous. This is funny. I'm so out of my element with this right now.
So now work it up higher and higher. You're going to need to get it up a little bit higher.
Okay.
So we want that weight right here so you can just tuck the elbows. Suck it through.
So I have to get it way higher, huh?
Yep, just let it do the work a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit more. And we're just about there. Oops.
Oh, Jesus.
You were going, then you actually slowed it down.
It's so much harder than it seems. So how do I go about getting it higher? Is there something I should be thinking about with that, or just
same thing?
Maybe
when you got it in the front,
more.
it's just, relax and let it, boom. So the deeper the swing goes in the back, so think about grazing the ground with the weight.
Okay.
The deeper it goes, the more it's going to come out. So you don't want to be sitting here. Some people have a tendency to
keep it up.
They keep going like this and higher, and they end up with like extended arms. So you want to swing it deep, and then it'll come out on its own.
Got it. Okay.
So same thing. Just it's very little work to get.
I'm working way too hard
to go up high.
The relaxation thing is.
It's hard.
It's really hard. That's the hardest part of this.
But that's actually what delivers the results. Think about the developmental resets that happen with that.
Right.
Between firing everything, turning it on, off, adding in those rotational components, all this stuff was all going to come together.
You know what I love about this right now is this is very humbling, and it's how much does this weigh, including the 5 pounds on here?
We're at 12 pounds right now.
All right. So let's see. Yeah, I was definitely lifting it up too high.
Yeah.
Like behind my
head. Think about
head.
grazing the ground. There we go. Good. And now you've just got to get into the flow. You're trying to separate the two movements. So now it's coming up, and I'm just going to tuck and pull it through.
Okay.
Nice and flow it. So just put it behind the back. Don't work on the swing yet till you master the pull through. little bit higher, and a little bit more, and pull it through.
Oh, I messed up.
There you go. See? Now you've got that. A couple more tries, and all of a sudden that'll get nice and clean and smooth.
That's fun.
So.
That's fun. I like that. I could see too, like doing that before you did any sort of like Olympic lifts or overhead lifts.
Any of them. It's going to open you up. Well, it's such a versatile tool. People ask me, do I do it like off days, pre-training, post-training, like any of those. But pre-training is really amazing because you're going to get, like I said, you're going to get that range of motion where you can deliver power.
Right.
But at the same time, in literally 2 to 3 minutes, your heart rate's going to be up, you're going to be sweating, and you're actually mentally going to be in that I'm ready to train state. Yeah. So you've short-circuited this, normally all this time of people doing some mobilization activities. Right. Now I got to do my warm-up. Now I got to, it's like, boom, you're ready to roll.
I could almost see this too as almost like a neural prime, the last thing you do before you start getting into your lifts.
Yep.
I think that would be awesome. So now I got to take a 10-minute break and then do this again so I can make it smoother, huh?
Yep.
You
want to try dropping it back behind?
Kind of.
All right, let's do it.
So
I'm going to cue you.
Here.
You're going to cue. You're going to be 90-90, and you're just going to let it fall basically right behind the shoulder, right here. Okay.
So I'll be here, and then just let it go.
Yep. So the elbows are basically going to go straight back, but you're going to go. It'll fall, and you're going to let it open,
over,
and then pull through. Yep.
Okay.
So The hand placement, I do have a preference, but it's just a preference.
Okay.
And so what I like to do is have the most opening on the relaxation side if possible, and the best stiffness that I can on the pull-through side. So that means I'm basically going to be in your baseball stance, so that on, actually I got to think about that.
Me
It's been
too.
so long since I've coached, I just do it naturally.
Yeah, you want to go, it's like you don't know till your hands are on it.
So on this side, I'm going to get the most opening with this as my top hand. So I'm going to drop it back on the top hand side. And then my pull through is going to be, I'm going to have more power by it being lower on that side. Boom. Boom. So generally I do most of them one-handed these days. So right here, and you're going to let it, see where it's right there?
Yeah.
Right behind that shoulder.
So, I see.
So when I'm coaching it, usually I'll stand right next to you and put my hand out and say, let it hit my hand.
So should I try going slow on that descent?
No.
Okay.
You want to just let it open up. Yeah, go ahead and do the pullover again.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
So I should really go back that way.
Yeah.
Okay. So am I hitting your hand or am I just going for it?
You're gonna hit my hand.
Oh, way over there.
Yep, right here. Boom.
Okay.
There.
I got it. Yeah.
Good. And now we
Getting
just
the
work it
gist,
into
yeah.
a continuous motion. Guaranteed, 15 minutes of practice, you'll have this dialed in.
This is freaking awesome. I got to get me one of these. Thanks so much for showing me that and sharing this with the Move It Fix followers. And where can people find out more about this, as well as what you guys are up to?
Can find out more on kabukistrength.com.
Okay.
So main website, you can go to the store from there and read specifically on the Shoulder Rök. We've got tons of content on it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. Great. Well, thanks for being on here. That's what we got for you guys this week. I'll see you next time.